Welcome back to episode 11 of the Diamond Chronicles, True Tales of Trade, Trust, and Betrayal. My name is Judy Lee, as you all know. I'm GIA certified. And across from me, I have the lovely, lovely Global Diamond Broker.
Colin David Ferguson. And I really am lovely.
Sometimes. Today, not so much.
Well, actually, I think I am kind of lovely today because today's another, we have so many exciting things to talk about lately. But as we sit here introducing episode 11, which I believe we're going back to the international travels and crossing borders with briefcase full of diamonds and the most expensive city in the world today. And then we're off to the Philippines. By the way, it's Singapore is the most expensive city in the world where I went. Here's a true tale. I meet this beautiful woman. I take her out for dinner for sushi in Singapore, and it's 1,200 Canadian dollars with the exchange for two bottles of sake. 2 bottles of sake and sushi. That's how expensive that country is.
Oh my God, what kind of sushi are you eating though? That is wild.
I don't know. I don't understand.
Must have been a Michelin star restaurant.
It was fun. We had fun, that's for sure. But yeah, where were we? Oh, yeah, it's an exciting week because as we sit here talking, we're actually, for those of you who have been on our Instagram, we're actually going viral. Well, hang on. I'm actually going viral.
Yeah, I do nothing here. I'm just behind the camera. Seriously, though, we became an overnight sensation. Sorry, Colin became an overnight sensation.
The Global Diamond Broker, of which Judy is sort of, well, I couldn't do it without her, that's for sure.
Aww,
you just got a big
Colin.
raise, too, didn't you? You got a raise
Colin.
and what else?
Yeah, it's been a good day.
Right.
But yeah, so Colin's become an overnight sensation, and we posted a video one night and just randomly by chance blew up the next day.
Well, not by chance. I think it was my prudent decision to go with the Trojan horse.
Okay.
Which you did not know what a Trojan horse was, if I recall.
Oh, sue me.
And then you wanted it to go another way. And
sue me.
Okay. And meekly, she comes to me and goes, I think you were right about the Trojan horse. Do you think after 250,000 views?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're blowing up out there. We don't know where it'll stop. It's quite fascinating stuff, particularly for someone who, Judy's kind of grown up in the age of social media. I have not. People lived their lives to go viral on social media. We're going viral right now as we talk. Literally, we're approaching, I believe we're on our way to 280,000 views. And it's interesting because people live their lives. They try to figure out the algorithms. They do all these sorts of things. And here we are. We post, I think it's our 4th TikTok.
Only our 4th, yeah.
And we're viral.
So big things are happening.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting that our message of an alternative way to acquire diamonds is really captivating people. Look, we're the Global Diamond Broker, and I talk about this. Price is never going to be the issue. No one's ever going to beat the price. But, we're talking about some interesting things now with our diamonds, Judy, as well. The, diamonds of superior beauty. We have this fundamental belief that your diamonds have to perform, right? If you're going to pay money for diamonds, make sure they can friggin' perform. Make sure they
out
can
in the real
compete,
world,
right? Out in the real world. I mean, when your wife sits down or your fiance sits down, make sure your diamond is competitive. Right. And by that I mean when they compare,
the most beautiful.
If it's the most beautiful, this guy's a big stud diamond buyer, and guys are always going, "What's in it for me? What's it?" You look like a friggin' big stud that your wife had. There'll always be bigger diamonds and always smaller diamonds. Don't ever let there be more beautiful, because that's the win. And most diamonds, frankly, are duds. Yeah. Anyway, what we're talking about on the TikTok is the fact that once you put a diamond in a ring, and this is not popular with the industry, I can assure you, but once you put a diamond in a ring, it's impossible to grade any aspect of that diamond. Correct, Judy?
That's correct. And it goes to show that there's quite an amount of ignorance in the industry, because when we posted our video, there's a lot of people saying, what do you mean you can't grade a diamond once it's in a setting? That's false. And so we're here to debunk all the myths, right?
Yeah, of the industry.
Oh, it was so funny. Colin and I were walking down the streets of Vancouver the other day.
Oh,
and what happened, Colin?
That's right. A woman walked up to us with her phone out as we're walking back from, were we getting sushi or something?
I think we're
always
eating something.
Right? We're always eating.
Always
lately.
eating.
So we were heading back, and a girl comes walking, a young woman, I guess early 20s, holding her phone out. And I think she's asking for directions, but she's not. She's walking up the street with her AirPods on, listening to The Diamond Chronicles, Tales of Trade, Trust, and Betrayal.
If you're listening to this, Taylor, we appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. That was quite cute.
It was so
Taylor,
cute.
We posted Taylor on the website, and and what we're finding, and look, we're grateful to our listeners. We seem to be developing a very strong following, and so not only are we TikTok famous today, but
Podcast famous.
we're getting there anyway.
So last week, we took you on a trip to Antwerp, Belgium.
Office there for 15 years.
15 years.
For 450 years it had. When you think of these things, for 450 years, it had been the center of the diamond universe. And, we go where the rocks are, I guess. And
so the rocks have taken you to...
all over the world.
All over the world. But today on this episode, we'll be discussing Singapore.
I think we need to talk about Singapore, the new Switzerland.
The new
for
Switzerland
the world.
is in finance.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're also going to make our way over to
the Philippines.
The Philippines.
Great.
Exactly.
So where do we start, Colin?
So, I always like starting with the fact that, traveling to Singapore, unlike traveling to China, I think I even mentioned this last week, it's two completely different
not
paradigms. And traveling to China, we travel business class, so once you get where you're going, there's a certain comfort level of travel that you can expect. Traveling to Singapore, by far the most beautiful airport in the world, well known for it, is where you fly into. And, we talk about security a lot here. At this point, when I traveled to Singapore, I had over $5 million worth of diamonds in my pocket. And if you remember, they had the little tables out in China. Well, Singapore is a total different game. Singapore is really interested in your money and keeping your money happy and making you happy when you're coming there for business. And so when we talk about Singapore, it's a city and a country are all at the same time. And Singapore is a country that if you hop in your car and you drive across the widest part of the country from one end to the other, it takes about 45 minutes.
Wow, so it's small.
It's small. It's a small country, but it's a very powerful country.
It's very populated too, right?
It's very populated. In fact, I was sharing with someone the other day, I can't remember who it was, about the fact that they're talking about, and maybe they're doing this now, but the last time I was there, pre-COVID, they were talking about building their buildings downward instead of upward. And by that I mean, so we're up here downtown
Vancouver.
On the 38th floor of with the podcast, you'd left this out of the podcast, coming to you from the 38th floor of the beautiful Marriott high atop downtown. See, you muffed it, eh?
Yeah. Screwed it up again. Damn it, Judy.
Damn it, Judy. But what they're talking about to make room is to build buildings down. So you could be on the 38th floor of your building, but in the basement, down 38 floors.
What the hell?
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
Like, what would that feel like? Crazy.
That's crazy.
But that's where I haven't Googled this. I haven't looked into it since. But since you asked, that's one of the things. This is a very different country. This is a country where we're here in Canada, where you can walk down the street nowadays doing drugs with apparently no repercussions whatsoever. There, people get caned, and if you, by the way, try to bring drugs into Singapore, the solution to that by the Singaporean government is to have you put to death.
Oh my God.
So they have regular canings there where they will take someone outside and literally cane them, whip them.
Oh my God.
In front of the public. And if you're importing drugs into Singapore, it's bye-bye time.
It's crazy.
They put you to sleep.
What are some other laws that they have there that are interesting?
There's the gum law.
The gum law.
Right?
So they
There's
prohibit
the
gum.
law. There's no gum in Singapore.
But it's also the cleanest city, so...
It's a most... I remember one of my first nights getting into Singapore, and I'll tell you quick, because I was concerned about security.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this beautiful server in the bar, and we get in, it's late, I'm having something to drink and eat for dinner, and we're talking back and forth, and I said, where do you live? Like, how far is your place? And she goes, oh, it's about 10 blocks from here. And I said, how do you get home with this, image in my mind of we're in Singapore and there must be crime in this? She looked at me and said, well, I walk home. She goes, Mr. Ferguson, there's no crime in Singapore. How about that?
Could never be us here.
There's no crime in Singapore. Yeah. It's amazing. So we're there for diamonds. We've got $500,000 US, and this is the diamond investment market in those days. It was very exciting, very busy. And what I did in those days was I worked with jewelers and investors who were interested in owning these fancy color rare diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big part of the business we still do. I think, last week we were shipping diamonds to China, rare colored diamonds to China. And what's interesting when you're in a place like Singapore is to be up in the Fairmont there, or the Swiss Hotel, which are side by side downtown, two very, very top quality hotels, and to be giving a presentation and looking out the window at other countries.
Wow.
So out one window is Malaysia, out the other window is Indonesia. These are real countries.
That's so cool.
So cool. So, and it's so, when you come from a place like Vancouver where you can look out the window here and, you see mountains forever, you're till the other side of the country is 11,000 kilometers away and doesn't take 45. It's a different paradigm to be looking at. But this is the center of wealth. And we were there to deal with wealthy brokers and wealthy diamond people interested in owning rare colored diamonds.
Okay, Colin, so you now have walked through the border with $5 million worth of diamonds in your pocket. Tell the listeners what happens from there. What's the selling experience like? Just go through the process.
Sure. I guess the first thing is I get off the plane, and once you're inside plane security here in Canada, heading over to Singapore, you feel a lot better within that context, because of the fact that it's one of the within airplane borders here, in airplane security here in North America and in Singapore is some of the safest places you can be.
Well, let me tell you, if I had $5 million worth of diamonds in my pocket, I would not feel at ease, okay?
It's a little bit different how you sleep and stuff. So, for example, you may have a briefcase or a bag or something, but that's never where you keep these things. You keep them literally in your pocket, because it's hard for someone to reach in your pocket and steal something, or if you fall asleep.
Right.
And so when I would sleep, I'd have them in my pocket. And understand, 5 million can be one very small diamond.
Right.
This doesn't take a lot of diamonds, right? Especially the colored ones, which we were doing a lot of work with in Singapore. So once we get off there, of course, we have to meet with the Singaporean government.
Fun.
To assess. Well, it's interesting because there's government all through this, because you're traveling with this kind of wealth across borders. And so we had something I've mentioned before called a Carnet report, which lists all the diamonds.
Oh, right. You mentioned that in the last podcast.
You can bring them out and in. And then I meet with the guys from the Israeli security company, and they protect me the whole time I'm there. They stand around.
So you have bodyguards?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Bodyguards for a bodyguard.
I'm not your bodyguard, okay?
Okay.
But yeah, they were literally bodyguards, and of course,
were they small little
Malcolm
Chinese guys, or
no? These are Israeli former commando guys.
Oh,
right. Like, these guys are very, very serious about what they do. It's interesting. they also ship around the world, and people may find this interesting, but when you ship things like whatever you're shipping, like whether it's something overnight to a child away at university or, something of importance to someone somewhere, with Melka Amit, they can walk up, I can give them literally a diamond, nothing else, no packaging, nothing.
Just plop in your hands.
Put it in their hands and tell them where I want it to be, and it goes there. And here's another interesting thing about this sort of shipment. If you guys ever are considering us shipping the diamond to you, we can ship anywhere in the world, any value diamond, in a day. Literally, there are companies out there that will come. They're high security companies. It's not inexpensive, but it's not really expensive. That will come, pick it up from me, take it, and deliver it wherever it has to go in the world by the next day. So however they figure those flights out, and it's the same sort of movement of the stone. It's quite fascinating, really, the backstage security. So these guys would be with me. So we then go to the vault, put the diamonds in the vault, and get ready to do shows. And the shows were invitation only, high net worth investors from Singapore, bankers, some of the jewelers.
Were these big events, or was it pretty exclusive?
No, there'd be 30 or 40 people at an event, and I would get up on stage, and I would do my rock talk, I guess.
Your rock
the best
talk.
way, and talk about the value of these things. And, we've learned a lot over the years about what it is and isn't an investment stone. In some cases, we learn the hard way by making a bad choice, but we've almost got it down to a science now. There's certain categories of diamonds that really have no price volatility. You talk about these Argyle Pinks, of which I was one of the first authorized partners in the world with the Argyle Pink Diamond Mine. We look at those sort of scenarios, and these are hard assets that are becoming super popular among the wealthy.
Well, with the closure of the mine, too, the demand is so high, right?
The prices are starting to skyrocket, so it's kind of interesting. And these were the stones that we were talking about 3 and 4 years ago in Singapore.
Interesting.
It is interesting. And then, of course, you're in Singapore, so why don't you fly 4 more hours and go to the Philippines. And go to the Manila is one thing. And, when I travel to Manila, this is, again, a country that is completely the opposite of Singapore. The crime is outrageous.
Oh, right.
And in those days, I thought I was a big shot. I don't think that anymore. I've been humbled, not by you. Maybe by you a couple of times. But I can remember driving in Singapore, in the Philippines, in Makati City and Manila. And I'll talk about those two separate cities because Makati City is a high security city within Manila.
Oh,
really
interesting.
Quite interesting.
The Philippines is made up of thousands of islands,
It's
right?
thousands of islands.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
But we were driving, and I put the window down in the limo and put my arm up there, and the limo driver panics, and he goes, "Look, here they will come and chop your arm
Literally,
off.
Yeah, I've
and
heard of
take
stories.
Your watch. This is the Philippines." He goes, "This is not the place to do that."
That
Put
probably
your
humbled you
window up.
so quick.
So
Yeah.
that's a moment I will never forget. I couldn't get that window up fast enough.
Yeah.
But this is the reality of traveling to these parts of the world.
Yeah.
Now, where we went through was interesting because we were in Manila and in Makati City, which is where we were doing these presentations for natural fancy colored diamonds and meeting with investors. You asked about the process. We'd meet as a group. We'd do an overall presentation, and they'd acquire the stones directly from us. It's interesting because when you get there, the security is unbelievably high. I have pictures of this. I guess we should post them on the website. They search under the cars. They make you get out of the car before you go into Makati City. There's only certain places you can access the city. There's dogs all over the place. Once you get to your hotel, that process starts all over again. So there are literally security guys walking around your car with mirrors looking under the car.
Oh my God.
Like surreal stuff. Stuff you see in movies like Jason Bourne, The Bourne Identity, where you see all these different parts of Europe and the world. And I think he was in the Philippines at one point, and then India. And it's just all different, you guys. And when we come from North America, I try not to take for granted the quality of life we have here.
Absolutely.
Because it's remarkable. And when you see somewhere like the slums in Manila, it's horrifying. It's hard to believe people can live like that.
Yeah.
But they do. So yeah, and these are this is traveling around the world with diamonds again.
So it's interesting, like you say, well, the Philippines, we all know, can be a very poor country, but there's also the rich.
Great wealth.
Right.
Within
And
the
so,
Philippines as well.
Yeah.
In a protected city. Right? So it's quite different.
Yeah. So what was your diamond selling experience like in the Philippines?
We were only there for, I guess, a week or 10 days, and it was brisk. I make great friends there. We still do business there. With COVID, everything kind of slowed down, and now we're starting to reestablish this aspects of the business again. And frankly, I can't wait. The Philippines there's two places in the world that I've been where I say that they were one of the best places I've ever been. The Philippines is one of those. Yeah. And the other one's China.
And it's the people that you say, right?
The people just make all the difference. Well, especially Filipino people.
They're so friendly.
The loveliest people.
I grew up with a lot of Filipinos, and they would always host family parties, and I swear to you, I would gain like 5 pounds after going to any event because they just feed you.
It's a different
till you roll out of there.
Of how to treat people.
They're very friendly, very accommodating.
It's interesting, though, because when you're on mainland China, and we don't get news out of mainland China, and it's kind of similar to that as well. But the business was good. The business is expanding. I mean, these are countries that understand the value of having a portable asset. Right. That you can move around with. I mean, we live in, again, a part of the world where there is no war. There is no battles. You don't ever have to run from your home. Yeah. That's not the same when you're in places like China. For sure. You kind of take for granted. Degree, Europe. Pardon me, Judy?
I said you kind of take things for granted when you hear about.
For granted and I try not to. So that was those experiences in those two countries. Again, can't wait to get back now that COVID's over. I swore I'd never travel with a mask. So we're looking at returning to all these places. And, the other side of it we haven't talked about as well is the buying side. And those are different countries where we go to buy. Like Antwerp was a place where we would go to buy. Now we've got to look to India. I mean, I talked about the fact that Antwerp for 450 years... But that's all changed now, and it's changed in my lifetime. And, 9 out of 10 diamonds go through India today. There's the diamonds that are coming out of Africa. We read an article the other day about Dubai becoming a major center for diamonds because of their location, and they're in a nice location between Russian and don't you dare buy Russian blood diamonds. Don't get me started. But
don't get him started.
This article said, and between there and Europe. So it's interesting. But at the same time, the diamond industry has been shaken to its boots. Right. We're seeing this, with these companies moving over from mined diamonds to lab-grown diamonds.
Yeah, I mean, all the technology that's changing the diamond world is quite interesting.
It's so interesting. Yeah. Imagine what it took Mother Nature 3 billion years they can make in a couple months. You can tailor order your diamonds now. Yeah. You can order the rough. You can order it cooked. Because remember, when they cook the rough, they're not cooking cut diamonds. They're cooking rocks. You can order your rock. You can order the quality. You can order the diamond.
Crazy.
I mean, and you're going to see, we've been out in front of a few luxury jewelers this week where we saw some frightening things, like
frightening numbers.
Frightening numbers,
like,
exactly.
Actually.
So, and I'll talk about these because we were in a high-end retailer.
We're not going to say the name, right?
Yeah, we're going to say the name. I mean, but here's the thing. They sell DE colors, which is what we believe is rare rock, more D
Mostly
than E.
D, yeah.
Transparent diamonds, VS1 or better.
For
like
an astronomical amount of money.
So here's the thing, though, that I'll talk about there, is that those diamonds, though, here's a nice thing about that diamond. That diamond out in the real world is going to perform. So even if you pay too much for it, you get a diamond that can perform. And we're going to be talking about, how competitive our diamonds are.
Just like Colin's nature.
Right? Like, it's not about buying these things. It's about owning them and wearing them. And how does your diamond perform? Not in a jewelry store.
But in the real world.
In the real world. How does it when she compares her diamond with another diamond? Is her diamond, how does it compete? Right? That's really what this is about. It's interesting because I'll tell guys out there right now, this is the only return you get. You hear me say it all the time. This is about her comparing and having the whitest, brightest diamond. And if she does, you're the big stud diamond buyer. That's where a diamond has to compete. All this bullshit that goes on at the retail level. I'll tell you one of the things about where we saw the diamond yesterday, Van Cleef. Of course, they're a super high-end retailer. But that diamond will perform in the real world. That diamond is our diamond. We were both like, it's the exact same quality as the stones that we suggest our clients get in. It's just a whole different ballpark of price. Right? That $600 worth of Van Cleef gold is...
Colin feels very strongly about this.
Well, no, I would rather
so.
have someone spend too much and have a beautiful diamond.
Yeah. Than spend money on a dud and have it not shine.
Money and not have it be pretty.
Yeah,
I mean, at least they're doing one thing right. And the only other house that I've seen do that, Tiffany doesn't do it. They sell diamonds I would never sell. Or even suggest, I shouldn't say sell, but suggest to our clients. But the other one is Harry Winston, who I think is the greatest jeweler of all time, next to me. So, and also deal in these super high colors that are prisms, that are always the most beautiful. How's that? Was that good for my rant for today? I know I get off on... I know you warned me about ranting. Okay, but I rant, okay?
I know. That vein is coming on strong. I'm just kidding.
Anyway, pretty passionate about what we do. We have all ranges of diamonds. Of course, we're true brokers, and we ship all over the world, and we sell to jewelry stores all over the world, and price is never going to be our issue. No one's going to beat our price when you come to see us. Price will be around what you want to spend on your diamond.
That's your business.
That's not our business.
For sure.
Our business is to help you maximize the value for that. And that's what we've done extremely well for these 40 years, of which, let's see, 16 of those you weren't even on the planet, Judy.
Wow.
Right? 40 years ago I started doing this.
Crazy. Mind blown.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So, you guys, follow us on TikTok. Follow us on our Instagram. We will be famous.
Oh my God. We already are becoming famous.
I know.
So
we got recognized on the street.
It's not that. I'm TikTok famous and you're not, okay?
Yeah.
And
honestly,
I know that's a bitter pill for you.
I'm totally okay with being behind the scenes famous. I'm totally happy with that. You're the face. Anyways, before we get too ahead of ourselves, I think it's time we say goodbye.
See you next week. Next week, this is the end of international travel.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we ever really plan these out?
Well, I think that the understanding that the markets that we're working in and what's available is important to our followers. But I want to go on this exploration of what it is to own diamonds.
Okay.
That paradigm that I keep sort of coming up to and then backing off of, because it's about owning them and not buying them. And the other thing I've been getting emails and requests about is security. People don't know I've had a gun to the back of my head twice.
Yeah.
I've been robbed. I've had them in the ceilings.
Crazy.
I mean, maybe that's what we should start doing next week, is telling some of the more sinister stories.
Sinister stories? That sounds very interesting, Colin. Where would you suggest that we start next week?
It's like I've been talking about. There's so many of these over my 4 decades in the industry, but I think we need to start close to where we are right now at the beautiful World Trade Center here in Vancouver, and tell the story about the night the criminals got into the ceiling and waited there all weekend long.
Okay, don't give too many details now. We got to leave a cliffhanger for the listeners.
That's where I would start next week. Let's tell the World Trade Center robbery story.
Okay, amazing. Or not.
How's that for a cliffhanger?
So if you guys want to hear more about this story, stay tuned for our podcast next week.
That'll be number 12.
Number 12.
And we're going to be doing the series.
A robbery series?
Well, not a robbery.
But Sinister Story series.
Sinister Story series. Sinister Diamond Stories.
So stay tuned, everyone, for our episode 12 next week. Have an amazing Labor Day weekend. Colin?
Yes, Judy?
Is there anything else you'd like to
Are you going
add?
to make fun of me again this week as we are
Probably.
often post it on
Probably.
the Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here, Judy. I'm here. I'll be there next week.
Okay.
Stay tuned, guys. You're going to love these stories. Really, this is taking you as far backstage in the industry as you get. And Judy's giving me the finger again, the one that says, hurry up.
Okay.
I'm done.
Bye.
Bye.